afternoon, everyone. This is Reverend Zachary Oliver, and I am the Vice President UPF, and we have been hosting this great and excellent, insightful webinar called Stopping the Violence for the last 3 years. We've had incredible guests on. We've had judges and chiefs and police chiefs, police officers, dealing with recidivism, dealing with mental health issues, just dealing with a plethora of people who deals with a plethora of different problems and different issues that sometimes leads to violent behaviors. So today we have another guest who was with us to share with us her hope, strengths, and the avenues she's taken into dealing with individuals, which also helps to reduce potential violent behaviors. We thank you so much for everyone who is always on and the other audiences out there on YouTube. We thank you so much for coming and joining us every week. So without that, any further ado, I would like just to share with you a little information about our speaker today. It's a great question. Her title is Why Advocacy? Tanya Brown-Ridge is a MSW, founder and executive director of Victims Empowerment Support Team. Tanya Brown-Ridge is a seasoned leader with over 18 years of experience in community service advocacy and service management. Her career reflects a deep commitment to social justice, supporting undeserved populations, for roles such as Senior Vice President of Operation to Director of the Admissions and Customer Care. Tanya has consistently driven strategic success while promoting community impact. Great word, impact. Her true passion lies in empowering individuals and families, particularly mentoring young women and supporting victims of crime. She provides critical guidance to help people rebuild their lives after trauma, with a special focus on breaking cycles of violence and fostering resilience. Thank you so much for that incredible bio of yourself, and we look forward to hearing from you. Welcome to our platform.
Thank you all for having me. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're at in this world. Not sure, but it's still morning for me. So again, my name is Tanya Brown-Ridge, and I am the founder and executive director of Victims Empowerment Support Team. Why did I choose advocacy? One of the many reasons is when you become a survivor like me, then you are responsible for pulling another survivor up. I'm here today not just as a leader of a domestic violence organization, but as a thriver. A thriver of domestic violence is someone who has not only survived abuse, but has healed, grown, and reclaimed their life beyond the trauma. Being a thriver doesn't mean the pain or impact is erased. It means that I have transformed my experience into strength, resilience, and advocacy. I did not just escape violence, but built something meaningful in its wake. VEST. My purpose, my why. I'm a 22-year survivor beyond an abusive relationship. I survived, and now I help others do the same. Back then, no one thought I would be that woman. I was strong, independent, ambitious, but abuse doesn't care how strong you are. It didn't start with abuse. It started with the honeymoon stage. With love bombing, my ex made me feel like the center of his world until that world became a trap. He eventually was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I never knew who I was coming home to. One moment, he was loving and kind. The next, he was cruel and unpredictable. You hold on, hoping the kind, loving person will stay, but that person never really comes back. I endured physical pain, such as pushing, slapping, hitting, and punching. Now, I did fight back. However, at the time, a 110-pound woman was no match for a 6'3", 250 plus man. There was emotional abuse. He would say things to try to make me feel guilty about the abuse. There was isolation, controlling what I did, where I went, even letting the air out of my car tires, taking my car and hiding it for weeks at a time, and bleaching my clothes so I couldn't go anywhere. He used jealousy to justify his actions. He would tell me, if you leave, I'll kill you and then myself. And I believed him. What made it more dangerous was he had access to a gun. Did you all know that a woman is 5 times more likely to be murdered if her abuser has access to a firearm? Guns are the most common weapon used in domestic violence homicides. Every year in the US, more than 600 women are shot to death, most by current or former partners. Over half of all intimate partner homicides involve a gun. And 96% of murder-suicide cases, the victim was a woman. But it doesn't stop with women. A recent 5-year study showed 866 children were shot in domestic violence incidents. 621 of them died. These are just some statistics of domestic violence turning fatal. Well, I stayed in my unhealthy relationship because I truly believe he would kill me and himself. The fear of leaving felt more overwhelming than the pain of staying. It wasn't sudden, it was a slow, deliberate unraveling of my life, a calculated effort to break me piece by piece. I lost myself to domestic violence. My dreams felt muted and my worth diminished. I didn't know how to ask for help, and shame kept me silent. But silence wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of finding my voice, my strength, and my purpose. There were moments I felt invisible, moments I wondered if I would ever break the cycle of violence that surrounded me. But I did. One night changed everything. I knew if I didn't fight for my life, I would not survive. As the fight escalated, I realized this was life or death. I yelled to my 7-year-old son at the time to go to the neighbor's house and call the police, as my 1-year-old daughter watched in silence. When the police took him away, I made a choice. I would never look back. I chose myself. I chose survival. I chose my children. That night, my faith was more present than ever. My voice turned, my strength reignited. He had tried to break me, but my spirit was unbreakable. Even in the darkest moments, I realized my faith had never left me. And the strength within me had only been waiting. That was the moment my healing began. I am living proof that survival is just the beginning. Healing is possible. Breaking free is possible. Turning pain into power is possible. And with God, all things are possible. I was fortunate to have family to return to, my mother, my brothers, and my sisters. But many victims, they don't have this kind of support, which keep them trapped even longer. Soon the calls came. He had attempted suicide 3 times. But he was no longer my burden. I had broken free. For the first time in years, I felt something I had forgotten: hope. Healing meant looking inward, so I did the work, because I knew that if I wasn't good for myself, I couldn't be good for anyone else. I had to unlearn the love that kept me bound to pain, believing I can fix someone else at my own expense. I learned that love should not hurt, manipulate, or control. I reclaimed my life through faith, healing, family support, and education. Education became more than just learning. It became my tool of empowerment, my path to freedom, my way of rewriting the narrative that had been forced upon me. I returned to school, something he had sabotaged for years, because he knew that I would later realize knowledge would become my strength. Little did I know, the first day I stepped onto a university campus, my path had already been divinely set before me. And it was during my internship at Sacramento State that my true purpose was revealed. VEST was born. And as an intern, I began working at an agency that assists victims of violence. And it didn't take long before I started noticing gaps in culturally specific services, gaps in trauma-informed care, gaps in long-term support for survivors after the crisis. Instead of accepting what was missing, I started developing programs with writing curricula and laying the foundation of what would become the VEST model. What began as an internship hours turned into a calling. At VEST, we work with survivors every day who face domestic abuse. We help them with restraining order paperwork, statements of abuse, and the filing process. And here's something many don't realize. During that process, survivors can list any known firearm. The judge can order the abuser to surrender those weapons. By law, if someone is the respondent on a domestic violence restraining order, they are not allowed to possess a gun. But most abusers own more guns than the survivors know about. The system can't compensate what hasn't been disclosed. That's why we also conduct danger assessments to help survivors understand their true risk level, including the potential for homicide. At VEST, we walk alongside survivors as they rebuild their lives. We accompany them to each court hearing and trial for the permanent domestic violence restraining order. We safety plan with them. We offer a weekly support group designed to help survivors rebuild community and realize they are not alone. Isolation is one of the most powerful tools abusers use, but connecting is one of the most powerful tools for healing. In our group, survivors come together to share, to listen, learn, and rebuild together. They rediscover their voice in a space where they are believed, seen, and valued. Because healing doesn't happen in silence or solitude. Healing happens in community. We also offer an 8-week domestic violence education workshop that I designed to equip survivors with knowledge, tools, and confidence to rebuild their lives. Some of the topics we cover are red flags, breaking the cycle of violence, goal setting and personal empowerment, the impact of domestic violence on children, and the complex but powerful journey of forgiveness. This workshop is about transformation. We help survivors understand that they've lived what they've lived through, why it wasn't their fault, and how to move forward with clarity, strength, and purpose. Because knowledge isn't just power, it's freedom. As of yesterday, I'm proud to share that I started a free unlimited individual therapy program, which I named RISE, which is Renew, Inspire, Support, and Empower. Because healing doesn't happen on a deadline, and no survivor should be told when to get over it. Most of our clients are 19 to 26 years old, and 96% of our clients are women. And more than half of female homicide victims in the U.S. are killed by current or former male intimate partners. Nearly every mass shooting in a country that involves 4 or more victims, it starts with a domestic violence situation. We need laws that disarm abusers. We need to close the loopholes, and we need to fund the services that keep survivors alive. That's why I proudly serve as a member of the California Partnership to End Domestic Violence. I stand with them in supporting survivor-centered policy solutions and actively participate in policy support. We attend Policy Advocacy Day each year in Sacramento to push for stronger gun restrictions, improve survivor protection, victim funding, and systemic change. Because safety shouldn't be a privilege. It should be a right. Healing shouldn't be a luxury. It should be accessible. And breaking free shouldn't be a lonely road. It should be a supported journey. That's exactly why VEST exists, to walk alongside survivors, not just through crisis, but through healing, rebuilding, and thriving. At VEST, we don't just respond to trauma, we disrupt cycle. We center the survivor, we lead with empathy, and we create space for people to rise from what they've been through into who they're meant to be. Breaking the cycle is not only possible, it's happening in my family. My daughter is pursuing her master's in social work, inspired by the very journey we endured. My son is now an entrepreneur, building his own path, and my 15-year-old son is a scholar athlete, thriving in a world that once felt uncertain. The interaction between a person and their environment shapes behavior and development. After I fled my abusive relationship, I made a promise to myself and to my children that I would only surround them with healthy relationships, whether it was friendship, family connections, or my future marriage. I became intentional about the energy, people, and environments we allow into our lives. I became deeply committed to our healing and our future. Because when we change the environment through safety, support, and empowerment, we give our children the chance not to survive, but to thrive. Because when we act with purpose, when we come together, we don't just change lives, we save them. I'm a statistic of what happens when family, community, and education comes together. My story is what empowered me to also publish the CARE model for survivors that are in the journey to recovery. The CARE model emphasizes the importance of building a system filled with individuals who embody these key traits. C is for compassion, supporters who are compassionate to listen to survivors without judgment, help survivors process their emotions, and provide validation. They foster an environment of trust, making the survivor feel heard and understood. A is for accessible. Survivors should feel they are not facing their recovery alone. Accessible individuals are always available to offer support, ensuring the survivor feels connected and understood in moments of need. R for resourceful. The journey to recovery often requires practical solutions. Resourceful survivor supporters actively seek out information, tools, and external resources to assist survivors in navigating their healing process effectively. And E for empathetic. Empathy is critical for emotional support. Supporters who can genuinely connect to the survivor's emotional experiences help create a sense of comfort, make it easy for the survivor to open up, heal. Surrounding oneself with people who embody these characteristics is essential to a survivor's recovery, as these relationships provide the understanding, guidance, and emotional strength needed to heal and rebuild. Let me know if you would like a copy of the CARE model to share with the people you know. Thank you.
Wow.
Wow, thank you very much. That was very powerful, very impactful, and very well thought out and executed. And it wasn't just the paper, but it was your life and how you categorized it and shared it, and how, as you had said, it just morphed. You started as a volunteer or just doing some research, became, your career, and your career was just based on how richly God has used you to be help and advocacy for others. This wasn't just you, me surviving and thriving, but the onus is on me too to help others to go through it and not only survive, but I like that last part is to thrive. And then, I like the part where you said that in each category, there should be a support group for each one, and then moving forward for that. That's incredible. I was thinking about her, Dr. Alexander, and she used some of the words, the best models, the best practice, on that. So, we're having a conference in October 17th to the 18th, 19th. And we'd love for you to come and just make a presentation on that particular piece, which is domestic survivors, and you writing a curriculum from it was also incredible and awesome that you were able to do that. And that might be Dr. Alexander in that research guide, the resource guide of best practices, yeah, that are out there. But there's no testimony and no advocate and person who can put something together to help others is those who have been through that process, and can be a great testimony. So I want to thank you so much for coming on. And I know that we have several people here that would love to, make some statements, comments, or ask some questions. So the floor is all.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead. Yeah. Wayne Hagen, welcome to the platform.
Oh, it's good to be here. It's good to hear another person's life story that is very meaningful. I wanted to ask you, Tanya, what advice would you give women of any age in choosing the partner that they want to have a long-term relationship with? What things should they really take notice of and not be blinded by love? I think you have a lot to say about the things, the signs that you missed that are very common. But I'd like to hear your comments on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your question, Wayne. I would say when seeking a relationship, do not settle. Do not settle. Do not lower your standards for your desires, your wants, and your needs. And do not ignore the signs that are not sitting right with your gut or your values that don't align with your moral values, your family values. Don't ignore those things. I truly feel like in a relationship, you should feel equally yoked. And if this person, it becomes the opposite of what your needs are, what your values are. I mean, we all have moral codes, right? If it's not sitting right with your gut and your heart, it's probably not right. So don't ignore those signs at the beginning. I think when we start new relationships, we're so excited about the newness that we ignore the red flags, the things that are not sitting right with our hearts. So staying true to who they are, throughout the duration of the relationship, because I feel like a lot of times young people, I was in my abusive relationship in my mid-20s, what we start doing is ignoring things because we're more interested in learning this person, getting to know this person. We feel like we're in love with this person. So we start discounting what's important to us. But I will also say spend time with their family, especially their grandparents, if they're still there, because they're going to most likely tell you the truth about what you're getting into. It's something I tell my daughter, show up at the family gatherings, go to the holiday. Okay. They're going to slip eventually. Spend as much time in their family unit as you do in yours.
Wow, thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's probably very true because the relatives will be honest with you. you don't know him. You don't know her, because they're looking out for you as well, but they love that person as well. And that's why they probably say it. Anyone else?
Yes, I'm going to step in. I'm going to step in right here.
Sure.
Thank you so much for accepting the invitation and for sharing your life with us. Um, while you were speaking, just the anointing just kind of transferred, and I could just feel the vibes of you going through those different stages and the time that was allowed when God opened up that door to provide a way of escape for you. I've heard other women that have been through, domestic violence. They can take it, they take a lot, but when it comes to their children, that's usually when they start kind of planning their escape and seeing things differently. The work that you're doing is just to be commended. Um, in the pastoral world, we do these messages called our mess was part of our message. But to look at it in its beauty, how the pain turned in your path to your passion, and you've been able to help others. I know it doesn't look good or feel good when you're going through a process, but to see how God could take something bad and turn it into something good and really allow you to be a beacon of light into your community. So yes, I would like to have the care model, and I would even like to, as your work continues to grow and as you're continuously working with women and offering those services. I love the fact you talked about support. I don't think you can go through any problem without a support system to come out on the other side. That is part of the piece that causes to thrive, because we have those supports. So I thank you for all the work that you're doing in that area. And I thank you for being so transparent and sharing your story with us. We often say, well, you can't tell me nothing unless you've been through it. And I know a lot of times it if we're not healed, if we're not in a place of healing, those testimonies, those reflections can cause triggers to put us in, a completely different place. But to know and to feel, baby, I absorbed that every word that came out of your mouth, and to know that you are a survivor and that you are currently thriving, and that you're operating out of your healness and not a place of brokenness. And it just makes you think, what type of person would want to break somebody anyway? You know what I mean? So that speaks to his story and not your story. So I thank God for you. I thank God for your mission and your ministry and the work that you're doing. And as you continue to thrive, I love the fact that you said that you're breaking the cycles and your daughter is in social work even now. We it's a once the environment is changed, we can make some different choices. And when we talk about changing people's lives, you know what I mean, what other you can only glorify God in that, because he has put you in that position for you to be his arms and legs and his mouthpiece, and to be the love and guiding light for others. So again, I thank you for accepting the invitation. I appreciate so much your presentation. And I'm going to stop right here because they know I could go on and on and on. I see some other hands in the gallery, but continue to do the work. I know I don't even have to say that, because you are the work. You know what I mean? So just to let you know that I appreciate you sincerely and deeply, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank
for
you
your
so much.
kind words.
Yeah, thank you. They're very powerful, very true. Thank you, Dr. Meth, always. Reverend Parker, Dr. James Parker.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Sorry, I missed y'all last week. Great message, and I heard the percentage of men that are in there is very low, very low. And most men don't want to, you know, be that one that called or
Absolutely.
hear me. Um, yeah, I grew up with three older sisters, and I constantly heard as I was growing up, don't put your hands on your sisters. Don't put your hands on your sister. But my sisters were never told not to put their hands on me. that they weren't told. So you could understand how they became a lot of instigators and things, but I could never fire back. What I noticed, what happened in those where they are now, you know, they have been through a lot of domestic violence. They have called me plenty of times to come over there and deal with their significant other, and that's where that's where I seen it come from. You know, if dad would have told you, if mom would have told you, don't put your hands on another person, period, whether male or female, you know, it kind of probably would have stopped a lot of it. And you know, whenever I came to the house on their behalf, the first thing I would say to them, are you gonna call the cops? You know, are you gonna call the cops on this person? Because there's no sense of me getting involved with this if you're not going to call the cops. Because legally, I can't come in your house and start fighting your boyfriend or whoever and end up getting handcuffed myself going out this place. And now my family don't have protection. Now my family is missing me. Now my job might be firing me. So how much information do the young ladies, even though they are victims, do you see where they could have instigated it to the point of also, we're just not here to protect you, but we're also here to protect the other person that you might come back in contact with? Do you have that type of classing?
Well, so during the restraining order meeting, that can take up to 4 hours. And we also help with writing the statement of abuse, because typically when the survivors come to us, asking them to relive the situation that we're putting on the restraining order with them is really triggering, right? So that can take some time. So when they do share information, there are things that could have been done differently that may have provoked the escalation. Absolutely. But it also goes back to narrative, right? Writing a narrative of what a relationship's supposed to be like growing up, you know. That was written for me. My father was abusive to my mother. So that wrote the narrative that love hurts sometimes, right? It's okay for a man to put his hands on a woman. So with your narrative, mom and dad said, do not hit the girls. You know, you can't hit them back, but they never wrote the narrative that they should not be hitting you. So in their relationship, that narrative becomes, I can put my hands on you, but you can't hit me back. But then that narrative from the partner, the spouse, may have been completely different, right, than what you were told in your household. So it's really about writing a narrative, but we don't victim blame. We don't, when survivors come to us and they ask for help, we never try to make them accountable, especially when it's really raw and they're walking into the agency. Now, once we start doing domestic violence education workshop, the support group, we do start talking about forgiveness, accountability, what we can do differently moving forward in new relationships. We provide that type of empowerment building, self-awareness, right? That self-awareness journey I went on. At that point, you have to acknowledge your part that you played in the situation. So we do talk about that a lot, being self-aware enough to know and holding yourself accountable for the part you played in the relationship as well.
Hey man, I'm gonna give you my sister's number and remind them what they did to their brother.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do some education workshops with your sisters.
Yeah, and I remember this movie. It was a Lifetime movie. It was called Men Don't Tell. The man was constantly being abused, but when he showed up with these bruises or whatever, they assumed that it was him. According to the CDC, 1 in every 3 men are physically abused. However, in this full process, we know that the numbers are higher, even when you look at the stats of what's the football game, the Super Bowl. Those numbers are huge when it comes to women being abused. You know what I mean? So during this process, and James, for the most part, when we were growing up, the boys were taught not to hit the girls. You know, but to have that narrative, like she explained, and James, you made it very clear, there should be no physical contact with the intent to hurt someone. And I think that's even a narrative that should be going out and being pronounced even now. You know what I mean? Keep your hands to yourself. Can you keep your hands to yourself? Put your hands in your pockets. That's what I was told. And growing up, I used to like to fight. I used to like to fight, whether it was a boy or a girl. It didn't matter. I just used to like to fight. But for me, it was a physical activity, not meaning to cause harm, but just as a thing that I did as a kid. But as I got older, I had the understanding not to hit anybody. You know what I mean? Not to just deliberately hit anybody or start fights. And, you know, my dad used to say, you don't go out there start no fights, but if you need to finish one, then you have to defend yourself. But in this case, when we're talking about pure abuse, you know, it's that narcissistic spirit is running rampant when it comes to these strongholds that men are putting up on these women to be in control, to have power over something. That narcissistic spirit is the spirit of rebellion, which wants to control and dominate and just totally decimate the female species, apparently. But whatever that is about, I'm happy to hear and know that the work continues for the rebuilding process of these women and any men that has been subject to it, that to put their lives back together. She says something that was very powerful. They talk about forgiving, and we all know that forgiving starts with forgiving yourself, because a lot of times we hold ourselves responsible, you know, when things go wrong. What did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? You know, maybe I should have cooked more, maybe I should have did this more. But people with this these personality characteristics, there's nothing that you can do to satisfy them. So again, Tanya, thank you so much for doing the work. And James, make sure you get your sisters her number.
Yes, please.
Wow, thank you so much. That was a great question and a
Yes.
great answer that you gave, and also a great comments that you have also given again, Dr. Alexander. Thank you so much. All right, Reverend Darrell Franklin, welcome to the platform. How are you? We can't hear you.
Now, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I hear you now.
Can hear you
Oh,
now.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, there-
I'm going to have to work on this thing. But thank you so much. God bless you, Father. Thank you for your perseverance. And yeah, I think you are a manifestation of God's miracle to be able to hang in there by. You were able to somehow to be able to cling on to God. God brought you through this. And we are the humble recipients of what you were able to create from this miserable situation. My hat goes off to you. Thank you so much for your testimony, and because you're going to be a blessing to so many people. And and one of the things in
Thank
which
you.
I wanted to ask is that a couple of things, and that is to say that what were what do you think are the best places for women to meet men or men to meet women? Of course, there's bars or whatever the case may be, or social clubs. And then at the same time, um, is there a way to put your curriculum in public schools and public education? Because, of course, everything is ideally the family should be the main place where we can learn how to be able to honor and respect, one another, because that's the growing place of love, right? And so I just wanted to ask you also those kind of places, and also if if there's any way that we can put that curriculum in schools, and also if you have some inspiration, any mentors, a person who said the right thing at the right time when you needed it. And if you can recall those words or that inspiration, that thought that empowered you to be able to overcome their situation, if you'd be so kind if you can share that, and
Yeah.
thank you again.
Absolutely. So I would always tell, so I have a 32-year-old son, had him when I was 19. So he's very intentional about marriage, having children. So me and my daughter told him he is no longer allowed to find his own girlfriend because the last ones he brought home just was not happening. So I told him to go to church. You can get a woman in the grocery store, stay off of social media. Also, go to the ER and find you another doctor. Just stay off of social media in the clubs. Yeah, so that would be my recommendation to meet good people. And then also the curriculum, the curriculum for schools. So I started off when I first started. This is a nonprofit, so all of my programs are grant funded or foundational grants from community partners and businesses. So when I first started, I dedicated a lot of my time in the schools. So I would just donate me and my staff. We would go do a 6 to 8 week workshop at the schools. So I was doing that for a while, and then financially I just couldn't continue. They continued to want me to come out and do it for the organization, but because of capacity issues, I couldn't do it myself. So I did offer that curriculum at the schools that I did attend. So what I found is most nonprofits that have the prevention grant schools, they're not doing the work. They're called Invest. So that's a little tough, right? Because you have to pay the people to go out to do the work. But the schools that I did present at, me and my staff, I did create them a curriculum binder to share with their staff and their families. So that's just, I feel like our youth is a forgotten population. We wait till things happen instead of empowering them with information like healthy relationship workshops, which I was doing in the schools. So it's really tough, but I am very open. If you know schools that are interested, I will definitely support them in getting that off the ground because I think it's definitely needed with our young people. And we need to teach it. I made all my children read the curriculum. When I was building, my 15-year-old was 9 years old and he was reading the curriculum as well. I did a whole presentation in the living room when I was creating my organization. So I think it's extremely important and I'm very passionate about that. I had a couple mentors growing up. So one of my mentor, I never forget, I was living in Indianapolis at the time. Very nice lady. Keep in mind, I had moved from California to Indianapolis with at the time, my son was 1.5 years. And, growing up from Oakland, no filter. And she would say, you would go a long way if you learn how to bite your tongue. So that's some really good advice that she gave me. It allowed me to take that moment and just become more self-aware of how people perceived me or the information, because I grew up in the house that you said was on what was on your mind or on your heart, and nobody really judged. Or, oh, that's just Tanya, that's just such and such, that's just who she is, right? But in the world, it may be perceived as different, right? And so I learned that real fast at 19 years old in Indianapolis. So I always take that with me, and I do mentorship for Sac State and the University of Nevada, Reno, which I graduated from. And I do take young women under my wing and try to give them some guidance. I have interns that come here and I stay on board even after they finish their internship and mentor them to professionalism, whether it's dressing and being able to just show up and leaving your baggage at the door before you come in here because this is heavy work already, and leaving this work here when you go home. So I think it's critical about the mentorship. I had my last mentorship when I was the director at the college. She told me to go back to school. She said, you have so much more to give. You need to go back to school because I just see something for you. So I really sat in that years later. And I came home one day and I told my husband, I was like, I want to go back to school. So my only intentions was at that time, it was almost 10 years ago, I was working on my associate. And I said, I just want to get my associates at the community college down the street from our home. And I got 3 associates within a year and a half. And then my instructors, which one became my mentor, and it's like, you will not stop here. You need to keep going. You have too much life experience, and the way you write cannot stop at associates level. So she pushed me, she encouraged me, and she continued to be my mentor. Amazing woman. So, a lot of times people don't think others are listening, but I'm the type that I listen more than I talk. I'm very kind of quiet in spaces around people I don't really know. So I observe a lot. Yeah.
Awesome.
Did I answer all your questions?
Oh, you knocked it out of the park.
Okay. I was trying to make sure I answered all of them.
Yeah, you did. Thank you so
You
much.
knocked that
Okay, awesome.
way out of the park. Thank you. God bless you.
Yeah,
Thank
so much.
you.
Yeah, you got him.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. We have anybody else? Oh, by the way, Reverend Franklin, I don't know if anybody else noticed, but he looked like he was 10 years younger, right? For some reason.
God bless you. Oh, bless this brother. Bless this brother.
He's like, stop it some more. Bring it in.
Yeah.
That's right. So anybody else, please.
Yes. Parker has his hand up for another comment or question.
Oh, okay. Reverend Parker, hey.
I just wanted to find out if you got any tutorials on any website or on any Instagram or anything like that, little nuggets that you put on for people if they're scrolling through Facebook or scrolling through TikTok. Do you have any little nugget tutorials that people can read?
Yeah, so I don't have any tutorials. It's a lot of feet. Let me turn my volume down. But I do have interns working on that. I'm not on TikTok. I'm really old school, so I'm really trying to be on or the new social media. It just seems like a lot of work. But my interns are working on tutorials for TikTok and Instagram. That is something I tasted because it's something I need to do and make sure I'm current with what the public needs. And that's just pretty much what, especially the young people go on, a lot of Instagram and TikToks. But I do not have any video tutorials. Now we do post informational on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, and I can also send over our website and our social media channels.
Great.
Well, okay. Yeah, actually, Tanya, that might be a good idea because just listening to you right now, it's, people peruse the internet and spirit, pushes their hand toward you, you know what I mean? And they might just need to hear, not only read, but to hear your voice,
Yes.
So if you did just a short one and just throw it on social media, someone would listen to it and you would save someone's life and get a lot more phone calls. So thank you, Reverend Franklin, for that.
Yes, and
Thank you for that.
it's so many it's so many people out here that help but don't know where to begin because sometimes you don't want to share information. It's like James was saying earlier with his sisters, they might be in a situation, but when he get there, the police has to be called. So some people don't want to get their family members involved, don't want nobody to know. They think that they can handle it, and it's much more than them. But you have given us so much information and an eye-opening experience, just to say that it is help available for anyone that's having that that issue of domestic violence.
I will say
And if
this,
I can,
responses. So when I first started this work, I would get a lot of people that wanted me to speak in such spaces like this. For a long time, it was not that I did not want to share my story, but I didn't want, I perceived it as making the work about me. So I really had to sit in that. And it's really about helping other people, showing up. I'm a normal person, grew up in underserved neighborhoods, it's possible if I can get out of it. So I really had to change my mindset and tell myself, it's not about making this work about you. It's really about getting the information out there and raising more awareness. So, and that's why I said that when my interns came, we need to do some tutorials, we need to do some videos, we need to put things out there so people understand it's not normal what you're going through, right? I see you, I hear you. Yeah, so thank you for that. It's really going to motivate me to go check on my interns and see where they're at with trying to figure out some ideas and some topics.
Yeah, thank you so
I just
much.
wanted to say this real quick, because the internet is set up on people's algorithm. So you can put information out there and somebody might be searching for something or asking a question about something. And then what happened is that they shift your page to somebody else's page, people that are looking for it. So, all you had to do is put it out there and let the algorithm find the people to actually put it on their page for them to start following.
Absolutely.
Yes, so thank you for that. You're going to be my motivation to get this boat going.
Reverend Franklin, you have one more question?
Yeah,
Or
I
statement?
just wanted to piggyback off Brother James, what he just got finished saying, and also to your point too, Tanya, that Tanya said earlier. Yeah, I mean, it's true. It is not easy to find love, true love, social media. And believe me, I got burnt many times. But aside from that, we need heavenly people. We need God's people to be on social media, as a way of restoring some of the stuff that's there. We need somebody who can come on like yourself and offers a healthy alternative perspective that will lead towards the transformation of people growing in their emotional intelligence, to be able to have different ways of dealing with certain types of behavior. And that is something that as human beings, we really need to work on those things to help us to become intuitively aware of other types of healthy reactions towards circumstances that challenge our character. And I believe your teachings can play a very therapeutic role towards the overall healing of our society. And I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah.
so much. Tanya, thank you so much for coming on. What we would like to do is give you the last words.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I truly appreciate you all. In the past, I would prepare for something like this for weeks at a time, but what I've learned is it creates anxiety, and then you're practicing weeks early and preparing. So I literally put this together like 2 days ago. So I'm glad you all have found the information helpful. I'm going to walk away with this with ideas of what I can integrate into helping more survivors, the tutorials. That's going to be really good. But all of your input and positive support, I truly appreciate this panel. And also, Reverend, I wanted to say that I wrote down that you're going to have a conference in October. That's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So, yeah, I would like more information about that.
Yeah, that would be great. So Dr. Madeline is part of the organizing team, the committee for that conference. So please stay in touch with her. But I know for a fact, listening to you, that's another component that we can interject within the content of the conference, because we're going to have different content. So just your presentation would be quite helpful. And I'm quite sure there's other people who come who are already delving into that, but you can lead a committee, if you will. Okay. The last minute. All right, thank you so much for again coming on. And Dr. Madeline, keep in touch. I know you will.
Oh, absolutely. She's family now. She already know we're family.
Well, we look forward. Thank you. Welcome to the family. Thank you, everybody, for
coming on. Thank you all for having me.
Yes. God bless you. I see Pastor Janet Reed is in the gallery. This is actually her niece. She was the one that introduced her to me. So as we continue to form and grow, yes, we're going to find a place for you on the agenda and figure out how to work it out. Absolutely.
Okay, sounds good. Yes, that's my auntie. I call her my auntie Sugar.
Yes.
She's the sweetest.
Yes, because she loves you and ain't nothing you can do about it.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I'm so sorry. I am in the airport taking a flight out home from Alabama, but I was able to listen in on the questions and answers that were given. Tanya, you did an amazing job. I'm so proud of you and your ministry. I'm thankful to God that He created in you to be the best for those who need the help, whether it's male or female. We are aware of the fact that males are abused just as much as females, or, they get their abuse as well. Our mouths can get us into a place where we should not have stepped over the threshold, but we all should have self-control in any given moment. And if no one should be abused, no matter what, whether it's verbal or if it's using your hand, fist, or gun, knife, or whatever it may be. I thank God for you. I thank God for this platform to be a part of what is going on in the world and being able to be a help to so many that would not speak up and not come to the forefront until it's way too late. And I thank God that you are out there blowing your trumpet and allowing other people to know there is a way out of the situations that you can find yourself in. And as you said before, just choose wisely. Pray about everything, no matter what it is, whether it's a mate, a job, or whatever. God is in control and He will lead us to a perfect and successful end. God bless you and bless everyone on the panel and everyone that has asked questions. And I'm thankful.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie Sugar.
Yeah, Auntie Sugar. Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I would like to conclude with this. Thank you very much for coming on. We really appreciate your words that you share with us. And again, we look forward to creating that family partnership and moving forward. But I would like to say one thing to your son. And I think Auntie said that pray about everything, even pray about your match. Who's the master matcher? God.
God Himself.
That's right.
God
Amen.
God Himself. But in the meantime and in between time, take an application and a psychological evaluation.
Yes. And I tell him, be very specific what you praying to God to bring you. Okay. You don't want this anyway. Be very specific and intentional. Because He'll send you a wife. I'm not sure it's so let Him know exactly what you want.
Yes.
Be specific.
We don't even know what we want. We think we know what we want. We don't know what we want until we get it. Say that's
Yes.
not it.
Beautiful.
Just
Thank
throw
you
it
so
back.
much.
Just throw it back.
That's right.
Yes, yes, yes.
God
Thank
bless
you
you.
so much.
Excuse me.
God bless you all. Until we meet again. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Blessings, everyone.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Everyone.
Great
Bye
testimony, Ms. Brownridge. God bless you.
God bless.
All right. Thank you.
All right. I'll talk to you later, Reverend Oliver.
We'll talk. All
Yes.
right. God bless.
All right. God bless. Take
Auntie
care.
Reed,
Bye, Reverend
God bless
Oliver.
you.
Love you.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
You all stay endlessly heavy
Bye,
with my
everybody. See you next week.
See you
Okie
next
doke.
week.
Oh, happy birthday, America.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Looking good.
Oh, to God be the glory.
Amen.
Amen.